Good day, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Today we want to talk a little bit about fairness, pay and otherwise. An interesting issue in today's world is this concept of fairness, and one of the areas we hear fairness about the most is in relation to pay. What should somebody be paid? How should they be paid in relation to anyone else? And that's an issue that causes the most concern is in relation to someone else. We often hear these issues of, well, I'm paid this, and as long as you don't compare yourself to anybody else, in many ways you're okay. But when you start to compare yourself with someone else, you feel that what you're paid is not fair. Therein lies the issue, and it's a good issue for us to converse about and figure out how best we can determine this concept of fairness, specifically in relation to pay. First concept we want to talk about is when you work for someone else, you lose control of your future. And many people forget this. You can control the future of which you're at the helm. I often say that you can control the way you can live your life. You can't control the way others judge your life. It's the same concept when you work for somebody else. You often have to pay what they're willing or able to give you. If you don't like that pay, you must go to somewhere else. Or, secondly, never settle for less than you're worth. Ever should you settle for less than what you're worth. That also means that you may have to make it on your own. And this is a concept many of us don't ascribe to. We want to work for someone else and then demand that they pay us what we think we're worth. If you're not being paid what you're worth, then you need to go somewhere else to find out where that worth is, or you need to strike out on your own. Being in human resources for over 20 years, you rarely see someone who says, I'm worth more, and then they stay at the same company. They stay at the same company because they can't get paid what they think they're worth at another company. But herein lies a great statement and a great lesson. Try to find out what you're worth, which means put yourself in the market, and then you'll find out who will pay you what you think you're worth. It's an important concept. Third, be the best, and someone will pay you the best. I have never met someone who isn't worth more that isn't paid more. If you're that good with your ideas, and as we know today, as much as work ethic, it's the ideas that rule the world. If you're that good with your ideas, if you're that good with your work ethic, somebody will pay you more. Or you'll create a company that will generate more money for you. Again, be the best. And lastly, I've always believed that justice is a certainty. And what does that mean, justice is a certainty? Not just pay, but as you go through life, you're going to find out that things just aren't fair. I always say that fairs are for carnivals. I also have heard someone say one time that if life was fair, Elvis would be alive and the impersonators would be dead. Kind of a morbid statement, but it still rings true. There's just not much in life that's fair. Some look a certain way, some talk a certain way, some are smarter. Everybody has something. If you've seen some of my videos before, everybody has something. It's what you do with something that you have that makes you a somebody. And so, what we look at is that justice is a certainty. If someone's unfair to you, disrespectful, it will come out. It will, as the circle comes around, visit that person again in a destructive aim. What we have to know, what we have to see, is that if it happens to you that you're being treated differently or unfairly, eventually that person who treats you that way will have justice in their life. You may not see it in maybe 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, but it will happen. I often remember the story. My mother, her dad left her when she was 5 and never paid child support. And her dad left her for another woman. Left my grandmother for another woman. And they were married for over 30 years, almost 40 years, and then she left him for a younger man. So it took a while, but justice did visit that man. So that's what we see about fairness. When you work for someone else, you often lose control of your future. It's the first recognition. If you're not paid, secondly, what you're worth, you need to make it on your own. You need to go out there and find out what you're worth. Find out what somebody's going to pay you for what you have. Third is if you're the best, someone will pay you the best. So be the best. And fourth, remember that justice is always, always a certainty. I wish you the best on your track to fairness. Take care, everybody.
Okay, I guess probably the worst thing